Hello everyone and welcome to another bread baking recipe. I wanted to show you this process because it didn't turn out fantastic, but it's still a good bread, and sometimes life gets in the way and you don't have time to do foldings and taking care of the dough. But you can manage it in your timetable, so just follow along and see how I did it. I'm using this time whole wheat berries, and I mill my own flour, but you can buy 100% wheat flour. If you mill it yourself, it will be more tasty and all the nutrients from the grain will be still there available. But use whatever you have. So this recipe is with 100% whole wheat because a lot of people want to have it healthier with all the nutrients. So the night before baking, I'm doing the starter, mixing it with water, 50 grams of starter with 100 grams of water and 100 grams of the flour I milled at midday. You mix everything together and this will proof overnight at room temperature. I'm covering it now and I will proceed to the next step, which is also made the night before, and I'm hydrating the flour, the rest of the flour, which is 300 grams of water with 400 grams of flour, and mix everything very well until no flour, dry flour is seen, and make a rough ball. And this will stay overnight covered so that the flour completely hydrates. The next morning we will mix these two mixes. You can see that there is some gluten development just with hydrating the flour, and I'm spreading it on the sides so that I can incorporate the starter a little better. So I'm adding the starter and I'm kneading it a little bit, but it's more folding and mixing than kneading, so you don't need a lot of strength. And I'm adding 18 grams of salt in 2 batches, and I keep mixing it until I feel the salt is somehow dissolved. You can see the dough is a little tougher because of the folding, so the gluten is developing now. I'm gonna make a series of foldings. In my case it was 3 foldings, first 1.5 hours later, and the other 2 in additional 1 hour every folding. But this is because that's how my schedule permitted me. I had to go shopping and things to do in the house, so just make some foldings whenever you can. Here I'm doing some sort of a different folding. It's called coil folding, I think, and you just stretch slightly and you fold it into the bottom of the dough. This is a more gentle one, and it's more advisable to do it at the end of the proofing so that you don't degas. When my dough is a little bubbly on the surface, I will shape it now, and I'm using this long banneton just for fun, and I'm sprinkling some rice flour, and here I did a mistake which was not flouring the surface with normal wheat flour, and it was a little bit sticky. I tried to spread it a little bit and then just fold it. And now I remember that, wait, I forgot a step. You just need a little bit of flour so that not everything sticks, or you can wet the surface also. And I did the second mistake, which was a little bit over folding, so I didn't know when to stop, which can also be an issue, and the dough got a little bit sticky. I'm flipping it in the basket now, and I insist with the pinching and folding, which should not be the case, and sprinkling some rice flour so that it doesn't stick to the cover. And I leave this for 1 hour while I'm also preheating the Dutch oven inside the oven at 220 degrees Celsius. You can see it's now ready to be baked, and I'm flipping it on this parchment paper that I usually reuse until it's too crumbly, and I am scoring. So yes, I got this week to 100 subscribers, and I was trying to score it fancy. It didn't work so well. I want to thank everyone that is watching my videos and is tagging along every week. It encourages me to make more videos and share more recipes. So I'm putting here the bread inside the Dutch oven, which is really hot, for 30 minutes with the lid on, and now I'm taking the lid off and bake for another 15 minutes without the lid. The bread turned out a little bit flat. I recommend you to use a round panettone or a bowl or something if you want to have a nicer shape. The flat one is a bit more difficult to fold. You will see the crumb is very dense, but it makes a very delicious sandwich. I hope you give it a try and don't get discouraged if the bread doesn't look very well. It will still taste a lot better than it looks.